We all know the tried and failed ways of paid advertising. Spend a few thousand on Facebook or Google ads, next thing you know, you get a 0% return on ad spend. See, the thing is, early on, your pitch for your product probably isn't very good. So spending a bunch of money on paid ads is usually not going to work out. So that's why today I want to share with you 10 completely free ways to nab your first few customers. First up is a mega list. I didn't actually make any of these lists. I just kind of found them and got them together, but I will link them below in the description. This is just a huge list of a bunch of different websites that you can post your product to for free. If you go and you post your product or business to all of the different sites on this list, I don't see how you couldn't get at least a few customers. Odds are if you don't, it's probably because your product might suck and you should reevaluate. Next up is a related free tool. Now, I actually did this on a blog that I co-own. I made a free little calculator that I whipped up in a few hours that allowed people to look at the return on investment for a certain asset. And this tool actually has people using it. People come to the site to use the free tool and they stay for all of the other content. And you see this all over the web. Like places like NerdWallet do this. They have a bunch of free tools for calculating all sorts of financial stuff. And the next thing you know, you're buying products from their partners or you're paying for their own products or whatever. So this works very well. I've done this myself several times and it's great for getting your first few customers for free. And in that same vein of creating cool free products, you can also create cool, completely irrelevant products. So the one before this was creating a, kind of a fun tool that makes sense, that works well with your core offer. But you can also just create trendy, useful tools that are completely irrelevant. So for example, Capwing, which is a pretty large video editing online tool, they created a tool that basically tracks the location and damage of local fires, completely irrelevant to their core business model, but they hosted that tool on their main domain. And what happened was a bunch of people started linking to it, local news stations started talking about it, people started coming to their website, and that actually helped Google rank them higher, right? So they got more juice for their SEO and their other pages started ranking higher. And so they ended up getting more traffic and ultimately more customers from creating this completely irrelevant tool that had nothing to do with their business model. Now, next up is one that almost everyone uses. I've heard a lot of success stories with this. I've interviewed several founders that this is exactly how they got their first few customers, but it's actually probably my least favorite, at least personally, on this whole list, and that is cold email. So basically you just find people's emails that you think would be interested in the product that you're selling, and you send them a short, and I would highly customize it and tailor it to the individual that you're emailing. You send them a short email and you say, hey, saw that you're working on this or that you do this. Would you be interested in trying out this product that I made? And most of the time you won't get any replies, but maybe you do get some replies. Maybe you do get some early users from cold email. Again, this is something that is tried and true. Tons of businesses use this. I believe Alibaba did this early on, as well as Gumroad. So some pretty big companies used cold email to get their very first customers. So going along with cold email, you can also cold direct message people on social media. It's a little more personal because you're directing your message right to them instead of through maybe a business. And this is a better way to reach consumers. So if your product is business facing, maybe email makes more sense. If your product is consumer facing, direct messages might make more sense in that case. And so it's very similar to cold email. All you have to do is just craft a tailored direct message to this individual, and then you just send it away. Now, again, you don't want to get into spamming people because most of the social platforms don't let you send more than a certain amount of messages per day. So you really actually want to find people that you think would be great candidates that would want to buy your product to direct message. Don't just send messages to a bunch of people because that's not going to work very well anyway. So while we're on social media, the next one is influencer affiliates. Now, normally you have to pay influencers up front, but I said this was a completely free method, right? So what we're actually going to do is we're going to offer them a really, really sweet affiliate deal. Now, most influencers don't go for affiliate deals. So we have to make this really, really good. What I've seen that's worked is offering affiliates a 100% affiliate commission or even 120% affiliate commission. So obviously those you would probably have to pay for, but offer them as much as you possibly can, and they're much more likely to take that deal. And of course, this isn't a permanent thing. You can always renegotiate these terms once you get more customers. But early on, if you don't have any customers and you don't really have any money to spend on marketing, and you probably shouldn't anyway until you have a proven proof of concept that your business is actually viable, this is a great way to get some customers. Every person that the influencer refers, they get all of the revenue that comes in from that customer. But ultimately, you really want to craft these deals to benefit the influencers as much as possible. And you should actually reach out to micro-influencers. These are people that usually have only a few thousand or fewer followers. So they're pretty small accounts. But if you look very closely, you can find ones that are really in line with the kind of product offering that you're making. And so you can ideally find that niche on whatever social platform you're looking for. You can find an influencer that talks about things in that niche, and you can offer them a really, really great deal, and hopefully they'll take it. So similar to partnering up with an influencer on an affiliate basis, you can also partner up with other companies that complement your core product. So for example, Zapier did this early on, where they basically, actually their entire business model is built around this, where they integrate with a bunch of other larger companies. And this is also something that I've done in the past. One of my businesses, Atlas, was integrated with Amazon. And so basically, if you were an Amazon seller, my tool was built for you on top of an existing infrastructure. So a great way is to look at your core product and find another product that they go really well together. Don't go to a competitor or a product that is the same as yours. Go to a product that works well with your product. And you can either reach out to that company directly and try to build a partnership. This might work if the other company is really small as well. But typically, if you're going for a much bigger company, they're not going to reply. So you can integrate with their tools using like an API or something. And you can basically sell those products together, right? Or you sell that integration, and that works really well. It's worked well for me in the past, obviously worked well for Zapier. And Zapier did a bunch of other like crazy growth hacks when they were growing. They did all sorts of SEO stuff too. But this was kind of one of their core principles, was integrating with a bunch of larger companies. And then, they know people need those integrations, and then the product basically sells itself. So this next one is a little sketchy, it's a little shady, but it was done by a pretty big company, and I'm sure lots of other large companies do this as well, and that is actually to create a Twitter bot. So this is something that Mixpanel, which is a pretty big analytics tool, ended up doing. They created a bot that went and followed the followers of thought leaders in that space. So basically the followers that are following your competitor, you want to go and follow all of them. Again, you either manually or like Mixpanel did using a Twitter bot. And then when they follow you back, they might check out your profile. They might see a link to your product, and they might think, hey, this is a pretty good deal. I'm just going to use this product as well. So this is how Mixpanel got a bunch of early customers, and how you probably could too. So the second to last one is build a personal brand. Obviously, this is something that I've done, considering this is my personal brand on this channel. But a lot of people build personal brands. They build them completely separate from their products, or what I've seen a lot of is people build personal brands and then they build products for the audience of their brand. And you don't have to do YouTube, you don't have to do video. I actually personally follow a lot of newsletters that are written by blog owners that are personal brands. And I basically read everything they put out, and I buy their products, and it's great, right? Because you know the person and you have that connection with them. And so any product that they promote or any product that they make, you know that it's going to be good. So this really helps connect your audience with an individual person. Of course, the downside is if that individual person wants to ever leave the business, then you kind of broke a large chunk of your business. But this is a great free way to get a lot of customers and get off the ground very quickly. And even if you don't have a bunch of equipment, you can record videos on your phone, or again, you can just write, start a blog, start a newsletter, whatever, just be a personal brand. So the last one, and honestly probably the most powerful one out of all of these, is to give away free information. This is something that Lead Pages did early on, and Lead Pages is a opt-in form page builder basically. They did this and they got 16,000 customers in a single year. And that's just crazy. And all that they did was they just came up with reports and case studies, and they did different webinars, all free stuff. They just spent some time researching and looking through different documents and data on the internet, compiled all this stuff, and gave it away for free. And this is incredibly valuable to the people in their market because it's just useful, interesting information that they might need. And in exchange for that information, they just got their email, right? And then they followed up with those people. They said, hey, this is useful information. Here's some more useful information. They just kept giving them information. And eventually they pitched them Lead Pages, the product, right, to build out their page. And again, 16,000 people in a year. That's pretty impressive. So that concludes the list. If you have any suggestions, drop a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.